Hello and welcome to the Next Wave Digital Video. I'm your host, Tony Reale. Today we're going to talk about how to work with cheap, inexpensive LED lights. Now, lighting has obviously existed in film for years, everything from tungsten, HMIs, fluorescence. There's a huge variety, and LED is kind of the latest wave of lighting technology. Great things about LED are they're lightweight, they're durable, they can output a lot of power for a low wattage draw and require very little heat output from that as well. And finally, they're starting to become affordable. Now, there's everything from the high-end, super great quality LEDs all the way to the cheap stuff that you can find on eBay or Amazon. And today we're going to talk about how to work with those. Now, if you want to see a full description of the variety of LED lights that exist, we have a video that we did. You can check out that information in the description below. But today we're just going to talk a little bit about how to work with inexpensive LED lights. So you go on eBay, you get it and you decide you want to use it for your filmmaking. That's great. That's a great place to start. But the problem you might run into is that you might start getting a little bit of green cast from LEDs. It's very common for cheap LEDs to have a green look to them. The reason for that is in the color spectrum, green tends to be one of the brightest colors visibly, and it's very easy for LEDs to just spike to that. Now, some higher end manufacturers will either specially calibrate their LEDs to remove that, or they'll build in some sort of coded color correction right into the LED fixture. Some lesser expensive models will oftentimes not have that. So what can you do? Or how can you make sure that these lights will match to other lights that you're working around with? Well, fortunately, I've got a really simple and inexpensive method to make sure that you can get the best color out of your LED lights. Now, we also have another video that we did where we talked about color meters, and I go into this method a little bit in there as well. Again, that link will be in the description. But let's assume that you don't have a color meter and you just need to take your existing LED panel and try and make it as color accurate as possible. Now, I'm going to use these LED lights as an example. These are from CameTV. CameTV makes a variety of camera products, gimbals, all sorts of really cool stuff. These are some really small, lightweight LED panels that they have. They're battery powered. This is a daylight fixture. I also have a bicolor. And for the price, it's really, really a great deal. But I have noticed a little bit of color cast with these. So rather than just completely throwing them out with the bathwater, I decided, hey, let's see if we can get that fixed really easily. So what I did is I took the LED light and I took my DSLR camera. You can use this with almost any camera. You can use your cell phone if you want. All you can do is make sure you set it into manual mode so you can manually set the white balance. So then what I do, this is a daylight fixture, so I see what it's rated for. Some of them are rated for 5,500 Kelvin, some are rated for 5,600. Try and figure out whatever they rate this for. Point it at a white wall. Now you need to make sure that this is a actual really white wall. This could be a projector screen. This could be, again, a white wall in your house. You could get a piece of foam board, whatever it may be, but it has to be exactly white. If there's a little bit of warmth to it, like an eggshell or something like that, this won't work because there's going to be a little bit of color in there. So now point this and then make sure you turn off every other light in the room. Make sure you close windows. This needs to be a dark room with a white wall. So now what you need to do is take your LED panel in your dark room, face it, turn it all the way on, and take your DSLR that's already been set to your appropriate white balance and take a picture. Then take it and go into Photoshop or on your phone and turn up the saturation. What you're going to see there is if there's any color bias in that light, it's going to show. Now you're going to see a green tint or you're going to see a magenta tint or whatever it may be. This is the time where you can then start fixing that problem. So now what do you do? Well, now you get what's called minus green gel. This is basically minus green. In the opposite end of the spectrum is magenta. So you take a little piece of gel like this. This is quarter minus green. You can get it in various degrees of power. So a quarter, eighth, half, full, all that kind of stuff. I like quarter because you can stack these gels. If you need a half, you just put 2 quarters. If you need a full, you put 4 quarters. But it's hard to cut a full in half, obviously. So I like these. This quarter seems to work really well. And you would then put this in front of there, go do the same exact thing, take your picture, turn up the saturation, and see if that magenta or green or whatever has gone away. And again, if you're getting a weird magenta spill, then you go the opposite direction. You would get a plus green gel. For these CameTV lights, I have a little chart that I keep with me. I found out with the daylight LEDs, if I turn it on to daylight and put it, I do need a minus green gel. And if I use their tungsten gel, which is their own version of turning the daylight into a tungsten filter, I've actually found that it really doesn't need a gel, minus green gel. Then if they have a bicolor filter that I also use. If in daylight, I don't need a minus green, and in tungsten, I use the minus green gel. So this is just a little chart that I keep in there, and I keep those gels with me at all times. So this isn't perfectly scientifically accurate as you would if you got a color meter. But frankly, what you're trying to accomplish is get that light to match the different kelvins. If you want to match 55 or 5600 for daylight, or 3200 for tungsten. And if you're not getting any green or weird color bias, then it's much easier for you to then work with that light against other lights. So say you have a couple tungstens in your kit, or if you're working with the daylight against a window or something like that. If you try to do that in post and try and say, okay, I've just got this LED, it's got a little green, and I try to pull the green out in post, now the other color is going to probably go towards magenta, and you're going to get a weird red cast from the other lights in the room. So that's why it's really important to try and color match these lights. So I hope you guys found that helpful. Feel free to subscribe and leave a comment below if you have any other questions, and we'll see you next time.